You're listening to Black Parents Aging, where we help you navigate caring for aging loved ones. Every Wednesday, we'll discuss how to help your parents successfully navigate this new season of life. We are going to talk about legal, health, technology, and finances. Here's your host attorneys, Olivia Smith and Nicola Robinson.
Hello, and thank you for joining me on our podcast, Black Parents Aging today. This is Olivia Smith with SR Law Group, and I'm glad to have you here with me as we continue to discuss some of the issues that we face with having aging parents. Now, we're enjoying talking about these issues, but we also want to hear from you. You can contact us on our Facebook and Instagram page under our law firm. Today's topic, we will be discussing technology and the over 60 crowd. Now, instantly when I say that, I chuckle because it makes me think of that insurance commercial that's like, don't be like your parents. And it makes me think of the person in particular that is always on speakerphone in public talking, because that makes me think of my mom, who is always on speakerphone talking in public. But all jokes aside, there's another important reason that technology is important for the over 60 crowd, and that is the idea of aging in place. And when I say that, what I mean is that living in your own home for as long as possible. A recent survey by AARP about home and community preferences found that 76% of adults age 50 and older have a desire to age in place. Now, that shouldn't be shocking to any of us. But of course, as you know, the more we age, the more challenging living at home can become, even more so as mobility is reduced. This can be even more drastic if loved ones aren't nearby, and especially if seniors are living alone. But technology is here for the win, y'all, and it can really bridge the gap and allow aging people to stay in their homes so much longer than they would have been able to stay in there before. So y'all know technology has come a long way. And in 2020, there is more technology than ever to overcome some of the challenges that come with aging, especially with the smart tech we have, such as Alexa and Google smart speakers or smart TVs. It is now possible to turn almost any home into a smart home relatively easy, with not much more than Wi-Fi, a smartphone, or a tablet. This means that seniors can turn on the lights, lock the doors, adjust the thermostat, and turn on the TV, all with simple voice commands. Another AARP study called 2020 Tech and the 50 Plus survey found that seniors today are adapting pretty well to technology, more than ever before. Now, that sometimes seems hard to believe when in the middle of the workday, I receive a phone call. And I know if I receive phone calls, then some of you are receiving phone calls too. And it's one of my parents asking how they change their profile picture on their Facebook page, or for me to remind them again how to screenshot something, or asking about putting emojis in a text message. But I will say their willingness to progress as technology progresses should be applauded, because as my mom says, what is intuitive to us and makes sense to us sometimes from when they grew up from pushing a button and turning the TV on doesn't make sense and is not intuitive to them. So their willingness to learn says a lot. And hopefully by the end of this podcast, I would have given you at least a couple of tips that will be helpful when you're trying to help them. Another thing that has happened in 2020 that has pushed seniors to use technology, of course, is COVID. Seniors who might not have ever been on FaceTime or Zoom or Skype now have teledoc appointments with their doctor. Or maybe they want food from their favorite restaurant and they can no longer just drop by and pick it up. And so they're using DoorDash or Uber Eats. Maybe they're not feeling safe going to the gym. So now they're doing simple workouts in front of the TV. For a lot of people of all ages, the pandemic has introduced new ways of doing things that use technology. And many of these changes make it possible to accomplish more basic tasks without ever leaving home. Now, this is a place where I'm going to give you three quick tips because if you are like me, some of us wind up being technology coaches to the aging people around us. That may be your parents, that may be your uncles or your aunties or your grandma, or just neighbors or family friends that are aging and they need a little help in the technology department. And so there's three tips that I'm going to give. I'm sure there could be a lot more, but we're going to keep it simple today. And I base these three tips on the discussions. I won't say arguments, I'll say discussions that me and my mom have when I am trying to show her something on the computer or on her phone. The first tip is be patient. Let me say that again. The first tip is be patient. My mom often says that I go a mile a minute. And by the time I have given her the instructions, she has missed several of the steps because I was talking so fast and pushing so many buttons that she has no idea what I just did. And oftentimes that is the case because she catches me in an inopportune time when I'm doing something else. And so, a good way for this not to happen to you and for it to stop happening with us is to set some time aside. If we set some time aside, then I've got that blocked off in my calendar. She can write questions down as it comes to her. And then we're both prepared for our technology time so that I can take my time and really answer her questions and show her and help her in the way that I actually want to do when I'm trying to race through it. So, number one, be patient. Number two, avoid using jargon. Let's just have straight talk. You need to speak in a way that they're going to understand what you're saying and that makes sense to them. What I'm realizing is things that are intuitive and make sense to me don't always make sense to my mom. And so drop the jargon and just talk normal. And then three, don't do, teach. There is a saying that says, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach him to fish, he eats for a lifetime. Now, I know that sometimes it's just so much easier to take the phone and do what needs to be done and hand the phone back. But that doesn't really solve the problem because when they need that thing done again, then they have to come back to you because they never learned how to do it. So if we go back to one and be patient and just take the time to actually teach what it is that they need, then that saves you time in the end because they won't continue to come back and ask you the same thing over and over because now they know how to do it for themselves. So, three quick tips: be patient, means you may need to set some time aside, avoid using jargon, which means talk straight up, and three, don't do, teach so that they can learn to do it for themselves. Now, the other part of technology is really technology that can help seniors. So I know you remember back in the day, the commercial that was like, I'm falling and I can't get up. And this was to advertise the life alert that helped if a senior was having some sort of medical emergency that they could contact the authorities, the ambulance, the whoever they needed to contact to assist them. Well, y'all, Life Alert is still around, but now it has many, many competitors and they are better suited for what your particular needs are. So, because there's such a variety, you can look and see what is going to be the best option for your family. Life Alert is the original, but now there are many other companies. Some of them have contracts. There's variety in pricing. There's variety in what they offer. And so that is one way that you can think about using technology to actually help your aging parents or loved ones. The other thing is there is tracking options available as well. So you can subscribe to get a friendly daily check-in call, GPS tracking, which can be a huge help when you're dealing with loved ones that have dementia or Alzheimer's. and even monitoring the home for fire and smoke and carbon monoxide. And then the third thing is there is a smartwatch boom. We can use our smartwatches as medical alert devices. If you have an Apple Watch, then you already know that your watch has some of the basic fault detection technology in it. For example, if your watch detects a hard fall while you're wearing it, it taps you on the wrist, sounds an alarm, and displays an alert. You can choose to contact emergency services or dismiss the alert by pressing a button on the side. Or you can cancel a call by typing I'm okay, tapping the I'm okay button. Now, with a smartwatch, you can call emergency services. You'll get a local 911 operator who can send paramedics. This is great if you're in a real emergency, but you may not need paramedics, and you may also not want the bill that comes with paramedics coming to your home. But at least it is an option. And if you're worried about your parents falling, or you're worried about your loved one being at home by themselves, this provides you and them with extra layer of reassurance that there is something there, that if they need help, they can access it directly without having to call you and then you access it. So technology plays a double part. It helps our aging loved ones be social, keeps them up to date with what's going on, but it also can protect them and provide some much needed safety precaution and safety backups for them that make them more comfortable being at home. And if they, especially if they're home alone, and it makes you more comfortable with them being there. But let me go back real quick before I leave you today and talk about some safety tips for your aging loved ones using technology, using the computer, on the internet. Because even though these are no brainers, if you don't live with that person and you're not monitoring their computer, it may slip your mind to ask them about it. So you want to make sure that they are using good passwords. You're going to make sure that they are not using the same simple password that anybody can hack. You want to make sure they're using a password that they can remember, but that is going to be more difficult for somebody to guess and get into all of their banking and all of their information. The second thing is you want to make sure there's reputable security software. They may have started out with security software, it may have expired, they may not have renewed, and that's not something that right offhand that you would think about asking your parents, is the security software up to date? So that's something maybe you should ask. And then finally, if your parents love Facebook like my parents love Facebook, then they're on it often. And you need to make sure that there are social media privacy settings. So that the people that are looking at their pages and kind of following what they're doing are the people that they know and trust, and not just anybody can kind of track them and see what's going on with them. So that's the second set of tips. The third set is for those of you who say, I will not be the technology coach for my aging family members, loved ones, and friends. Like, that is not my calling. That's not my ministry. I don't have the patience. I'm too busy. And so that's not something that I'm interested in doing. And to that, I say, okay, you have to know what your limits are, and you have to know what you're good at. And then you have to know when you need to resource out some things. And so if teaching and coaching your aging loved ones about technology is not your thing, that's all right, because there are 2 free websites that provides how-to videos and classes that seniors can take at their leisure, at their convenience, in the comfort of their own home, to answer some of those questions they have without even contacting you. The first website is called gcflearnfree.org. It is supported by Goodwill Community Foundation. And then the second website is techboomers.com. They're both free resources and would be a great resource to give to your aging loved ones that have some questions about how to do some things They can look at those videos over and over again until it makes sense to them. And hopefully, it will be an added resource and be very helpful. That being said, that's all for today. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this was helpful, made you think about your loved one's living environment, and maybe it's time to introduce some technology, either, for safety purposes or just to make life easy and more enjoyable, especially around the holidays when we think we might be shopping for gifts. Some of this technology may be a great gift. As always, we would love to hear your feedback, comments, and questions. So hit us on Facebook on our firm page and let us know what you think about the episode. Let us know what you think about the podcast. Let us know if you have any suggestions or questions you would like us to answer. And if you would like to be a guest on the podcast or have suggestions, we're always open to that as well. Take care, and I will talk to you soon.
Thanks for joining us this week on Black Parents Aging. Check out our Facebook group at Black Parents Aging, where we go live to answer your questions. For more info on today's topic, check out the show notes on our website, srlawgrp.com. If you know someone who could benefit from today's episode, please share a link to the show. Subscribe to the show to catch new episodes and leave a review. Until next week.